I was talking to a buddy this morning about it, and I'm like, one of the maturity things that I've seen from drinking is getting to the point where I'm like, yeah, I'll have one more. And I was like, actually, no.
Yep.
I'm either, it's going to push me way too over, I'm going to throw it up, or I'm going to start sipping on it and realize that I don't actually want it.
You get a warning, too. Like, there is a warning that appears in your mind when the drink shows up, and you're like, this is the one that's going to make or break my evening.
Yeah.
Like, and whether or not someone bought it for you, or it's a change of drink or whatever, but I know my mind every single time, whether I cross it or not.
I also, Richard helps me last time we hung out, because usually he's the guy who constantly just keeps handing you the drinks. You don't have to think about it. You don't even ask. He just is like, here you go.
You're right.
And so this last time, because he has a kid now, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Richard has a kid now.
Yeah.
I think I knew that. I think I knew that briefly. That's awesome.
3 months old?
I did not know that then.
Yeah.
I knew they got married. I didn't know that. That's
Oh,
wonderful.
yeah. Fresh, yeah. Right out of the oven.
Little potato baby.
Yeah. His name
awesome,
is
man.
Roran.
Roran?
Yeah.
What a beautiful thing. Man.
Yeah, he's a real cute
I'm
kid.
super happy for them.
But in between, instead of just constantly drinking, we had competitions of chugging water. And so whoever failed had to make the next drink. And so we were constantly pounding water. And I'm like, I swear to God, that saved my life.
That's probably a good thing, yeah. I mean, you can overhydrate, I think, but I'd rather have more to throw up than not enough to throw up, for sure. Yeah.
And it fills your stomach up, which means you're not drinking as quickly, and that's another bonus. And it's like that one drink after chugging all that water took a lot longer time to finish.
I get that, yeah.
Yeah, so it's tricks of the trade being an old person.
Yeah, we earned that.
Yeah.
We also earned the drunken falls, too, because you're like, I know how I got here. No sympathy for me, thanks.
Right? You wake up the next day and you're like, why is this sore?
Oh, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Having a fiance, and she's like, I'm sorry you don't feel good. I'm like, don't be sorry to me. I drank last night. I'm the shitty person here. I did this. Like, come on now.
I have to apologize to myself.
Like, thank you, but this is not your problem.
Dude, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you ready to get into it?
Yeah, didn't know when we were starting or not.
Well, I figure if we're talking about us getting trash and hungover or something.
Not a good starting point, right?
Yeah, it might be fun for someone else.
Professional.
But not really what we're here to talk
Correct.
about. You're in it?
Yeah, let's do it. Am I? Do I have,
Actually, yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, thank you for joining us today on Like I Said. No, I'm just kidding. Today, guys, I got Joshua Jarman, long friend. Man, how long have we known each other?
I'm a long friend, one of the longer type.
Actually, you are like one of the few that is taller than me.
Well above 6 foot, yes. Long friends. I've known you more than 10 years now. No? About 10?
Somewhere around that.
It honestly has to be about 10 years.
Yeah.
Because I know Chris Rinkin was like, we've been friends 10 years now. I was like, what? So I guess when I first went to Coastal Coffee Roasters has been probably right around 10 years now. No more than that, I would imagine.
It's amazing how many people I've met through Coastal Coffee Roasters.
It's amazing how fast 10 years goes.
Yeah. Hot minute. But good times and bad times, and we will talk about some of those.
Yeah, that place was definitely a honey hole for meeting good people, and it was. It's just an awesome place. I'm glad it's still there, man. I'm still working like right next door to it too for the open mic. It's very serendipitous.
Yeah. Dude, there's no space in the warehouse now for any kind of open mic.
I hadn't been in there in years.
Yeah.
I honestly haven't even been to the cafe in a shameful amount of time. I'd love to go grab a bag of coffee and chit chat, but I looked through the window and noticed even like. The chalkboard has changed. A lot of the stuff has changed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We went digital.
Digital?
TVs now.
From chalk to digital.
Yep.
Yeah, what a jump.
It's expansion, baby.
That is good. I mean, it's very helpful, I'm sure, with growing menu or changing menu, all kinds of stuff. You can just kind of rotate.
So much better.
Presentation.
Actually show what you're getting. That's another thing people like, the visuals of what
I tried
food.
to draw it, but it didn't work.
Yeah. Dude, so many times I try to draw it, and I'm like, oh... It's like one of that rotten Krabby Patty.
Right.
Yeah, you're like, oh, no one's going to want to eat this.
Nobody should eat this.
I swear it's a delicious burger, though.
Everything on the menu is delicious.
Yeah.
If you draw it in chalk, it loses its appetite a little bit. Appeal.
Oh, my God. So one of the things that you and I have in common is being artists, different fields. I have no musical ability in any of my fibers, unfortunately. I've tried. I don't got it. You, though, you're pretty good.
That is a thing I've been stubborn about for a long time.
Yeah. Yes. We actually had the pleasure of working on, like, not me musically, but I help with some albums and stuff, doing designs and whatnot.
Dude, we've worked together most, actually. So I have a team that I haven't been able to call a team in a few years just because I haven't really been putting stuff out there. But yeah, you did the art for my first 3 EPs as well as a book of poetry. You did a piece that I could publish for. Yep.
Yeah.
He did this art. This was done for a prog metal band I'm in now.
You have to, like, stand up.
I don't want to.
There it is. Oh, that works. Good
Yeah.
idea.
So it was based on the Evil Dead, and Future Shock is my prog metal band. We kind of wanted to utilize that imagery, and you were the first person that I thought to call, especially when we wanted to, the colors, something to do with the layers and colors. I was just like, Caleb can knock that out easy.
Yeah, it's an awesome design. I actually had a lot of fun doing that.
Like, yeah. Yeah, it's good to have met a community of people and also to have been taught, have a little bit of humility and reach out to those people to build the products you want. Like, I could have doodled for my covers and stuff like that, but it meant more to have a credits list, especially when you update things on Spotify and iTunes and you can type all that in. It looks a lot more legitimized and premeditated, I guess.
Yeah, I actually agree.
Yeah.
It does look like way cooler. I'm like, oh, this person is not like just some loner in a basement and refuses to go out and talk to people.
Right. Like, not everybody can be Prince and do everything. Like, you have to, you know.
I didn't know that. Did he do everything?
He did quite a lot. And so did Michael Jackson. Actually, Michael Jackson was responsible for writing most of the rhythms in all of his music as well. And he would beatbox them to the band so that they would know. Like, he's known for being like,
Whoa,
and
that's
the band
cool.
would interpret those things. And yeah, I could go on about that. Like, Michael Jackson has a surprising repertoire. So does Prince, some things they were involved in and doing on their own. Michael Jackson did the soundtrack for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 for Sega Genesis. Yeah, listen to it again and thank Michael Jackson.
Dude, that's a fun fact. I had no idea.
That's, from my understanding, at least part of it, yeah.
I mean, that does make a lot of sense. They're both really well known.
Some of the more famous human beings ever.
I would say so.
Yeah, but a lot of artists try to do the self-produced thing. And I think even if you're the best on earth at it, at a certain point, you kind of have to loosen the reins and have a team. You're going to get a better product no matter what you're doing if you have a group of people helping you out.
It is pretty terrifying, though, to give up on, like, your little cultivated baby and, like, someone else is going to put their opinions in on this. But, like, I agree with you. I think it does come out better fleshed out, and it has other people's perspective and soul in it as well.
Because they're more solidified in the thing you hired them to do. Like, I hired you to be the artist because you had been doing art every day. That's the thing you were doing. So I had not. Whether or not I could doodle, it was like, let's hire the person who's doing this thing because, one, it's going to help them on their side of things, if only slightly. But you're just going to get a better product, man. I'm going to go to a tattoo artist who tattoos all the time, not someone who used to tattoo back in the day or has done some tattoos.
Amen.
Yeah, man. I could do my own tattoos, but do I want to do that? Probably not. Probably not.
No, not at all. Before we started, you told me that you are successfully fully funded by your music adventures.
Yes, but only after adjusting what fully funded meant for me. Like, the necessary amount of money I have spent the last 5 years adjusting so that I could say that confidently. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm playing between 10 and 20 gigs a month, maybe 15 on average. And that's a very helpful thing. I'm trying now to reach outside of the Low Country so that I can get different types of gigs, maybe with different pay rates considering the gas.
Yeah, no kidding.
But those opportunities are available and beginning to happen. And with a little bit more age and experience, I'm trying to navigate them more cleanly, than when I was young and excited. And we all have been there. I was glad for the moves I made then.
Yeah.
But going back into even our collaborations, I've thought about taking those things and like reimagining them, re-releasing them to like the first 2 albums, putting them on one vinyl or something.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
The idea of like rekindling the old, but leaving room for new art and stuff like that. So.
It's a lot of fun when you have the ability to kind of like continue to play with your craft, and you have like a portfolio of work that you can really play with.
That's very true, and we underestimate also that. Like I told my fiance, I was like, man, I haven't written a new song in forever. And she's like, good thing you have notebooks full of songs no other human being has ever heard. And I was like, yeah, but that's old. He's like, not to anybody else. You just put it out there. What do you mean? It's your art. And that actually had to dawn on me. This is still original work. I could reimagine the same thing 20 times if I really wanted to.
Absolutely.
It's mine.
I mean, I've seen plenty of like musicians and bands this is now remastered, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
a different, more elaborate, fleshed out version. I'm like, whoa, that's beautiful. I still like the original, but I
Right.
also really like what you did here.
The good thing about that is that's why it was recorded. You can always go back to the original if that's the one you want to, I don't know what I was going to say there. You want to hold special, then that's your thing. But reimagining art is usually a cool thing.
Yeah, usually.
Usually.
Yeah, sometimes.
Movies.
That was good. A little stab in there.
Yes, right.
Oh, so this brings us to one of the first things I really wanted to talk about, because it's something that I definitely struggle with pretty decently. And I do a lot of different creativity things, as we're now sitting in front of my Dungeons and Dragons little town.
It's beautiful. It's a cute little town, man.
Glad
There's a
that
lot
you think
going
so.
on in this town right now.
There is.
It's popping.
Yeah, it is. But how do you stay creative in the realm of trying to pay for bills, coming up with something that's fresh and new versus like all the old stuff, and then like because when you get locked in, especially for me, if I'm like really zoned in on a new project or something, I'm like, time doesn't exist.
That's right.
Food doesn't exist.
That's why you keep yourself from doing that, because you're like, I can't get involved in the warp where things to do. Like,
But it was so much more difficult. And because you push it off, for me at least, I'm like, I don't know if I want to sit down and work on this. And then I don't. And then I lose that spiciness for the art. And so it's a bit of a struggle to stay locked into what society deems I need to be doing, like working all the time, paying bills. And
Sure.
I don't blame the bill collectors. I do owe them the money for the things that I'm getting. So that's fair. But it does make doing art a little bit more challenging for me, at least. It's to sit down and come up with like fresh ideas and be locked in the zone.
well, the same is true for musicians. I think one of the first tricks that a musician realizes happens to their craft, especially if they build a professional career doing covers, is that covers begin to try to impede upon your creativity. Like, I am still doing music. I am still working. Like, but you're not doing the vulnerable work. You're not actually doing the part where you sat down and ignored the world and tunnel visioned into art for a second and interpretation. You've spent time being afraid of turning away from the world. You've spent time being afraid of putting down, like, I've got to get the money for my bills. I can't afford 2 hours of sitting here playing music. I'll play music on Friday when I've got 3 hours of a gig, right? So that trick happens, I think, to a lot of musicians. That's one I've been dealing with for years. But in order to actually be creative and to be in a vulnerable state, I usually wait for an emotional time, and I'll make myself sit down with a guitar and play something that doesn't exist. Like, and we've talked a little bit about flow state in the past, with I think maybe in another interview, but getting your mind out of the way and trying to just allow all of the other stuff you've been focused on to interpret itself in your sounds or your words or your writing and judge it later. Like, come up with something later. That's one of the biggest things I do for myself, because otherwise I don't feel excited to be an artist. If I'm trying to figure out what you want or what you want, I'm like, I need to just let this vomit out, whatever it is, and then I will polish it up and, get the rough edges out, maybe change a word if I have to, or make it flow a little better. And somehow those are the best works that come about. And I guess that's a ranty way to say I haven't been taking the same amount of time to be creative, but in recent years I've realized the only reason I was as creative as I was for so long is because I quite literally had an aura of negligence toward the world. And I don't mean that in a way of like carelessness or a particular aloof, but I wasn't worried about, the sound of the traffic distracting me from sitting there and playing guitar like a little hippie in the grass or whatever it was that I was up to. I was working on meditations and working on creating distance from the distractions in the world. And I did that long enough to create a few albums, And you can hear it in the words in the album too, because they weren't about things I was dealing with in my life directly. They were more about like the wind and the trees and these greater allegories and archetypes. And now as I get older, it's a little harder, because the things that I want to try to talk about are, you want to vent about the BS in your life, the stuff that's getting you down, man, the bills, the stuff like that. So anyway, I just try to sit myself down, and it's kind of a forceful thing. I have to turn off devices. I have to turn off outer influence. I don't listen to other music. I haven't really listened to music in a long time. I listen to instrumental music, if anything, but I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to, you know, a lot of theory shows. That part hasn't changed. I listen to a lot of just people's ideas fascinate me. I love that. But I really got away from music, man. And I listen to very select songs and artists as I feel that I'd like to dive into them or feel emotional. But I uninstalled a Apple CarPlay out of my car. I've got an old CD player that I'll throw in some Brian Eno or Beethoven or just like weird, gentle, chill music.
Hell yeah.
And then one day you'll get in my car and Lamb of God will be playing, and you'll be like, "What's happening right now?" And we just have our moods, and getting away from other people's music's helped me to be really creative again. Like try to know that this is my thought happening instead of a little interpretation of this thing I just heard today or whatever. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And not easy to do because we're absolutely bombarded all the time by influence, 100% all the time.
Yeah.
So I am a little hypercritical of myself. If I'm going to call myself an artist, I want to make sure what I'm putting out there is different and unique and art. Cover songs aren't art. It's an interpretation of someone else's work, but often in a way that you can recognize it, and you're not going to yell at me for ruining Dave Matthews. So it's not quite the same, but I think an interview like this would probably urge me to sit down and dive into a little bit more creativity as well, just for the sake of missing it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, oh God, what good points. The first thing, one of the things I thought about is where you went with the influence aspect. Because I do a lot of the same stuff. I don't really look at a lot of other people's art, much to Jenna's constant annoyance with me.
Right.
I don't even know how to call it annoyance. She always keep trying to get me to go into the art center. And it's not so much that I'm avoiding it for the sake of I'm not going to look at art because I'm an artist. It's, just the daily life. I get so wrapped up, and I'm a homebody. So the moment I get home, I'm like, I'm not leaving.
Right. I get it.
And,
me too.
But in doing so, I've noticed with other people, because when I do get on the internet and I scroll or whatever and I see other artists, and then I see, you kind of if you take a step back and you look at the world and everyone is just trying to recreate someone else's thing that they have created, and TikTok specifically has built this, if this was trendy and funny, I'm going to do it and people are going to enjoy it, and it happens.
Oh yeah.
And so at the same time, we're losing, like you said before we started, the identity of you as an artist. Maybe that doesn't need to be your whole identity, but you're losing your touch. You're losing the part of you that is the reason you created this thing. And so I think it's such an interesting point that you brought up, because it is kind of like deadening your individual soul, in a sense.
But you're only ever changing. So as long as you're breathing and doing your thing, your soul is only experiencing a new chapter, something new. And I had to forgive myself for that as well, because there was a time just a couple of years ago where I was, I said some things out loud about music and my relationship with it that I was just like, maybe I'm done here. Maybe this is, maybe I'm too old for this. Maybe I've been stubborn. But yeah, you start getting to that low point. I didn't want to rabbit hole on that too much. What was it that you said that sparked my...
Talking about kind of deadening your soul or losing your...
Yeah. And understanding that just because I'm not the same writer I was 10 years ago, just because I'm not approaching music the same way as I was 10 years ago, doesn't mean we broke up, music and I. It doesn't mean I'm not an artist. It doesn't mean I don't have the mind that I once did. It just means that now I'm coming from a different place with different experiences, different ways of explaining those experiences and trying to make them, convey them to you or to, whatever other viewer or listener. And you have to leave room for that, leave room for your own growth, and know that your music might not sound the same. Your art might not look the same. The people who bitch about a band acquiring a new sound and they're like, oh, they forgot about where they were and who they, all that stuff's just prideful BS. They recorded it, put it in your CD player and keep it there. You can listen to it a million times. Let them grow, because they're going to unlock something that hasn't existed yet for people who haven't heard it yet. And we have to leave room for that in every art field, or you only regurgitate. You only make the same movie twice. We don't need Saw again. We don't need Fast and the Furious again. Come up with something different, right?
Amen.
It's just the truth, man. But every artist has to do that. If you try to keep your old identity alive when it's dead, everyone will know. They'll know.
Yeah.
And the old person that I was is dead now. Like that sounds so brutal, but it's true. There's so many things about who I was 10 years ago that have changed that I suffer if I try to hold on to it. I have to let go and see what it is that I'm growing into and let my art interpret that, because the rest of it's just going to cause me like misery to live yesterday. I can't live yesterday. New stuff happens.
It should be the goal to change and kind of become a different person, hopefully for the better.
Yeah, maybe you get attached to who you were, though. You get attached to your identity again, and you don't get to keep your identity. Your identity isn't some sort of it's fleeting. It isn't some sort of concrete thing that's given to you at birth. It's not. It's constantly emerging, and you don't know what it is or what it will be, and you need to get out of the way and let it be, right? That's what identity is. It's not for you. It's not yours. You don't know what it is yet.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I definitely had a moment, one of my deepest burnouts, where I just had nothing in me. I couldn't create anything. For work, I was having to help design and make things. I'm like, I had nothing. I have no idea. And it freaked me out. It was like one of the deepest burnouts. Like usually when I burn out, I know I just need a break. But this lasted a little too long.
Sure.
I'm like, who am I if I can't create things? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to exist. What's the point of me being here? So it was very interesting to kind of get over that sensation. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't entirely remember how I got out of it. I think it was just a natural, I'll have to figure it out. And it just kind of dissolved, and I got a little bit more of my creative juices back. But it's kind of terrifying when you let go of that.
It's hard, and I don't know. I think it happens to everybody in some way or another. It happened to me for sure. I shook my fist at the sky and was like, I think I'm done with music now. It's not treating me how I expected it to. And then I got my finger caught in the brake on a bicycle and cut my fingertip off, and I couldn't play for 6 months, the whole top. I had 8 stitches through the bone and everything. And I was like, okay, I didn't mean it so much, right? And so immediately I remember it didn't hurt as much as I felt faint because I was not going to be able to play guitar. As soon as it happened, I felt faint because of that, not because of pain. It was weird. But I immediately did what I had to do to try to force myself to play, because I was like, I was wrong. I really do love music, and this is actually not for other people. It's for me, and I need it, and now I can't do it. And so, been there, done that, man.
Yeah. It's challenging because and we talked a little bit about this before. We talked about a lot of stuff before we started, guys, and gals and everyone in between. The warped difference of being an artist nowadays, in the sense that you can't just create for yourself. You have to constantly be a marketing person for yourself, and you have to be a social media person for yourself, and you have to do all these other aspects that kind of take away from it. So it's easy to forget that you started doing the art for yourself, and it's so overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah. You remember when you used to say things like art saved my life and music saved my life? If it weren't for music, I would be able
Yeah.
You were talking about for you. You weren't talking about what you offered other people. You were saying music offered this to you. That was your therapy, and then we sell it.
Yeah.
And then something happens. I have a lyric to a song that I wrote in a book once that talks about a carpenter who's attempting to build something out of wood, and he just keeps miscutting the wood and scrapping it. And so later, before he's ever got a structure, he's got a large pile of wood that he's just wasted, trees that just will never be something else. And then another verse in the song, I talk about how cooks do the same thing. Cooks will use animal byproducts and cook a thing, and then it won't be to taste, and so they scrap it. And then the person down the road is a homeless person, doesn't even have that food, right? And then it was a cool allegory, poetic kind of vibe. But I rambled much. I lost it.
That's okay. It was good though.
Yeah. But there was a reason.
Losing the point of it, because you did all this for you.
Yes. It's gone. That's okay.
Hey, it happens.
The art is for us, and as a byproduct of doing art for us successfully and honestly and truthfully, the world will clap for you. But if you do it for them, they don't want to hear it. They don't care. They
Yeah.
don't need you.
No, it's 100% agreed on that.
It's weird.
It really is. The only like, I kind to an extent, I almost feel like. Nope, I already talked myself out of it. I was going to say that the commissions are a bit like doing cover songs
Yeah.
for me, but then I'm like, I get a lot out of it because I don't usually paint things for people that are like, because I literally have never gotten a commission that was just like, hey, can you just paint like this interesting still life and like a dark gothic theme, which I would love to do. That'd be fun.
Right.
Never. It's always like the pet that just died, their childhood home that they lived at for years, and like when they get that final piece of artwork and I can see like the emotions, but all the memories that they had looking at their dog's face or whatever, I'm like, that makes me feel awesome. And I'm like, I provided this for them, and for me, I'm like, that fed me. I mean, your money helps out a lot, but
Well, and that brings me to an additional point. Because of your compassion for doing something for that person, despite art not being at a core level for them, it's for you, right? If they ask something of you, especially if it's out of your style point, you're like, I'll stretch myself for you. Like, because I appreciate you. I appreciate that you're interested. Same with music, You want me to play Freebird. And I don't want to play Freebird, but I'll play Freebird because you had the, interest to even ask and interact, and you came up to me and you said, very personally, whatever the case is, yes, I'll do that. And as a byproduct of me putting my ego aside and doing something for somebody else, it takes you out of your comfort zone. It pushes you to new boundaries. It teaches you new gradients. It teaches you new chords. It teaches you new whatever that you weren't interested in really messing with on your own accord until the world kind of asked you to do that. That's no different in any art or probably any, business or job either. You kind of, you do things for people enough because people tell you how you can grow, where you can grow, where your weak points are. You stay in your own little hobby hole. You might have your cool tricks and you have some impressive things, but that's what you'll have for
forever.
10 years again.
Yeah.
Let your identity grow based on what cover songs you've added to your list. I don't have to quit music because of cover songs. I can write new music because I've learned chords in the last 10 years that people have asked of me that I never felt or played before. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep.
That was good.
That's it. That's not it. Hey, bye guys, we're done.
Yeah, it's been. I look at the computer, but the camera's right here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. This is a good one because it kind of plays into the same thing. So I got like a list of topics, guys, because I'm a nerd. I prepared along the same lines of like staying creative and not getting so lost in the sauce. We've been talking about the world that takes everything's over. What ways do you stay grounded?
Meditation's the number one thing, period. And while I can't insist that I stay on top of it daily like I'd like to, it is always the medicine in the cabinet. It's always there, and I know I could take it,
What does meditation look like to you? Or like, what do you do for meditation?
So I guess what I'll share is that the base meditation that I use is a simple breathing meditation, which is really just conscious counting of your breath up to 21, in, out. And that alone helps you to ground yourself and center yourself and create distance from stimuli on the outside, whether it be sound or people or whatever thoughts you have about whether you left the oven on or whatever. So, and that doesn't necessarily have a religious undertone in any way. You're just counting your breath and being mindful of a function that happens without your will all the time, all day. I was taught that, and I was taught that it was called shamatha, or 21 breaths. But that's used by Buddhists as a precursor before more advanced meditations that they may have or in their lineage or whatever. It's not limited to Buddhism. That style of meditation is found in simple yogas, probably just exercises, and, there's nothing religious about counting your breath, dude, and relaxing. Be still and know that I am God, right? I do that, and then I also pray. Praying allows me to gather the things that I don't know what to do with in my reality that are like after my meditation, I may have the distance to know those things aren't blowing me around in the wind. I'm like, okay, I'm not at the mercy of the crap in my life. I don't have to cry because it's bill day, basically. However, I would like to pray because bill day may have been something that was just out of reach, or it may have been something I had to bust my ass all month to do, and I'm tired. I wish that I maybe had a couple extra breaths next month that I can enjoy. And so the prayer is putting it out there. Rather than stilling this, prayer is putting it out there and saying it. If you say it out loud, all the better. But those two things are the most important part of staying grounded when I am successfully grounded. Furthermore, I still walk barefoot. I love to walk barefoot, and that's a helpful thing. And I could get into the weird hippie science of that, but we are not well grounded as people. We wear rubber on our shoes. We're constantly aloof and on our phones with RF and radio frequency interference. We are not grounded. Walk barefoot. Go in the sand, touch grass. It sounds like some stupid hippie stuff, but it's true. Go sit on a rock. Your bills don't matter that much while you're on a rock.
Yo, I actually agree with you on that one.
Yeah, man. And that's a part of my youth. I will keep that. I'll learn a lot of wisdoms, and you will never convince me that I cannot walk on the grass, and that is not good for me. It will be good for me.
I love that. I have to go outside a lot. But before I start talking about that, I like the way that you explain that, especially with the prayer part, and just kind of like getting it out instead of letting it fester inside and building for lack of a better term, like a cancerous
100%
stress that you have.
It could be that you don't have control. It could be admittance that you tried too hard to control, that you want someone else their life to be better. It could be anything, really. Pray for everyone. Anybody who tells you that prayer doesn't work or is just nonsense, it doesn't understand basic things happening in reality. Everything you say changes the reality around you. The way you think, whether you like it or not, changes the way around you. So whether you believe in God or a Judeo-Christian God or any of that stuff, that doesn't matter as much as knowing that prayer and saying things outside of you affects the reality around you. Freaking witches and warlocks know that. So it doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. That's the truth. You should be mindful of this. And I have not always been mindful of that, and staying grounded helps. If you're not well grounded, you'll find yourself speaking things you wouldn't otherwise say. You can just,
absolutely.
That's true, man. It come out in your art. I don't want to make angry art because I want to vent. I do have things to vent, but it is not your fault. It's not your fault, So I need to do it in a skillful way from a grounded place where maybe it's, tickles somebody's mind and helps them to think and come to that conclusion rather than feel like I'm yelling at them about the way of the world or something.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
It's also just helping you exude better energy, because I really believe in that a lot. Because you can tell when someone walks in, you're like, nope, not talking to that person. They don't even have to talk. I can just feel what's bothering them is just going to affect everything.
Going to permeate.
Absolutely.
I've had to remove myself from situations before because I have been that guy.
Me too.
I am brooding, and I need to go be alone because that's mine, not yours. And that's a part of growing up too, man.
Yeah.
Just knowing that I'm in control of that.
Amen.
No one can stop me but me.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things I've been working on, is not being so reactionary, but getting to a point where I can think through a situation, because most of my life up to this was I'm reacting, and it's not ever the best reaction. Now, I mean, if it's a silly goose time, a little bit different.
That's right.
But most of the time it's some kind of overreaction. The situation is not what I'm making it out to be, and I had some kind of fight or flight that upscaled me, and now I'm making it everyone else's problem on top of whatever the situation is.
And we do it without thinking. It happens because we're trying to make ourselves feel better in the moment or whatever. Even I'm stepping in as a father now, and to a 12-year-old, and I'm going to tell you right now, if I react every time, nothing good will come of that, because she is trying to test everything. She's 12.
Boy.
There have been a couple times where I've even just began to raise my voice a little to assert that this has, what you're saying is incorrect, and this is what your mom says is going to happen. And then I'm like, you get parental guilt. That's a thing that exists that I had no idea, but that happens. You're like, hi, I did a good job. I did terrible. I'm so sorry. But it slowed me down a lot, and you realize you are the only one who can control your emotions. And then you hear a young child say things like, I can't help it when I'm emotional. Well, I happen to have just learned that you can. So you're wrong, I'm wrong. Let's all sit and learn.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it took me a long time to get here, so you're.
Yeah, you can help the way you feel.
Yeah.
You can.
It's not easy though.
No, and you don't always want to.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Fair.
you got to be real and be like, I want to suffer. This is my time to be miserable, and I want to be left alone. Maybe people will respect that. Maybe you shouldn't sit in it for too long.
I definitely had that conversation with myself at one point, because it gets so bad in your life when you are the main reason it's so bad in your life. And I had to like sit, when you start thinking like, why is everything going so wrong? And finally, if you're lucky, you get to the point where like, oh shit, is it me?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, it's me.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, so like, and one of the questions that really helped me realize that was like, if I did get everything that I'm like, say I'm working so hard to get, how will I change when I get that? And I was like, oh my God, I'd freak out. I'd probably ruin it. I'm like, oh, so we're holding on to something else. Why are we holding on to that? And if we're still holding on to that, then you're not prepared to get this.
Grow or get what you,
Yeah. And so it's like, whoa, now I've got to figure out how to let go of this. And it's so interesting to get to that point where you can look back and like, okay, so I've got way overwhelmed with everything that's going on. I got too stuck on a certain mindset that I've been dealing with, and I've kind of mucked up a lot of stuff.
Right.
I need to go sit on a rock.
You got to sit on a rock. I was very fortunate to have learned this idea of karma in a way that helped me to understand. It was taught to me that if I became a perfect man right now, everything I do from now on is perfect. The way I do it is perfect. It's impossible for me to do this. But anyway, if this were the case, that I should expect still to run into adversity. And the reason for that is because I have been exerting my will up until that point. And so those ripples in the water exist already, and they will meet the shore. There's nothing you can do about that. Your goal is to make no more ripples, throw no more rocks. Right? And so that's a hard part for a spiritual person who might give up because they're like, I'm a perfect person and bad things still happen to me. How come I'm crucified if I'm a perfect man? Well, you have thrown rocks. Jesus didn't throw rocks. I'm not picking that fight. That's not what I'm doing. I promise. But the idea, though, is that you can't have this expectation that your perfection is false, or that your work that you're doing is false, or that you following the rules is in vain just because you hurt tomorrow. Like, things are still happening. You're also involved in the karma of others because you're interacting with others. So, I've dealt with that in my own personal spiritual life because I spent time mindfully and consciously doing what I thought was the work. And then I still run into adversity. And so I was like, why am I still running into adversity? And I'm like, well, you spent a lot of time throwing rocks. And if you didn't, you don't know that this is your first lifetime. For all you know, you've thrown rocks in the past.
Ooh.
And you really can't argue whether or not that's the truth without, using text from a book. So if that idea has any validity at all, you'll never know when the waves stop. You learn to surf and you stop throwing rocks. That's what you do. And I'm very blessed to have learned that, so that when I'm at the mercy of the waves and being pulled under, and I'm like, the world is, it's, I'm not doing the work. I'm sitting in my suffering going, I deserve this. It's me. It's my suffering, my waves. I don't know.
That's so funny. It threw me off.
It is, but it's real though. I think, as I understand it, you just can't make your life perfect today because of anything you do. That's why in every religion, at least that I've studied ever, there is work to do. It may not be works-based. What you do may not earn your salvation because it's already, that's already done and made, but you're expected not to continue throwing rocks. You can't just be like, everything's cool, but go kill all these people. Nobody says that's okay. Like,
No, definitely not.
Right, and those are some extremes, but I don't even remember why I started ranting this, but in general, learning that you're still going to have those adversities. Like, my dog got attacked this year, I mentioned briefly to you.
Yeah.
Man,
rough, dude.
I'd love to think there was nothing I did to make that happen, right? But who knows? And that's just one of those things that happens for me to see how I react. How do I react to the situation that is really hard to swallow, right? And that was the only response. And I was fortunate then to know when that crazy thing happened, like I had to snap into that. Pay attention to how you react. There's a child who is being traumatized by the situation. There's a person who got bit by a dog. Your dog is, everything is very serious. Mm-hmm. No time to be angry, because that's going to make everything worse. No time to be crying all over the place. This will make everything worse. Mm-hmm. Everyone has that in life, and you have no idea when it's coming for you to test you, to see how you react.
Absolutely. I mean, what a good analogy for that, though. I mean, it sucks that you had to go through that situation, but it's a good reminder that as you grow, more people look up to you on how you handle a situation. And until you get to the point where you're like understanding how to handle a situation.
I had no lack of emotions during that. My dog got attacked by another dog and ended up having to have an amputation in his. So now he's got a front leg with two toes, and the other leg was amputated. But in that situation, I was like, yeah, I mean, I absolutely have to be present now, because if I react poorly, this kid is in the most vulnerable state. She just saw a terrible thing happen. The child saw the attack. And so she needs to see, how am I going to react to the attacking dog? Am I going to try to help them? And so we're definitely given those situations, every single one of us, at some point in life, to where you don't get to sit and think. You get to act on the morals and the constructs that you have etched into your being. Mm-hmm. Those are true reactions, not like your emotional ego stuff. Because I had some emotions, man. I was upset at that dog. Dude. And I did not tell him that. I made sure that that was not the point at the time. So anyway.
Yeah, difficult.
But that's why I got that challenge, because easy doesn't grow you.
Unfortunately not.
No.
Makes you lax. This reminds me a lot of Siddhartha, the book, for some reason. I haven't thought about that book in a hot minute.
Great book.
It is a great book. I need to read that again. I love this, too, because usually every time we sit down, I always walk away just like, I have so much to think about in life now.
Life gives us so much. Like, I've heard people say recently, it ain't that deep. And I feel for those people. Unfortunately, I suffer from things being way too deep. And I know that. Everybody feels for that too. But, it is that deep, man. Things are not just out there bumbling around for no reason, caused by nothing. It's just a belief I'll have, and that's unshakable for me. It's a knowing, man. It's not nothing. I don't know what it's called. I can't pretend. I don't know more than you. But it ain't nothing, dude.
Yeah, that's sad.
It is, man. You got to call everything a coincidence, even the ones that give you goosebumps. Like that's not fun. It's not fun. I want to use my brain and be like, "Ooh, I wonder what's happening." It's so much better.
Absolutely. Plus, it gives you the tools aside from like the constant experiences that are trying and testing you to help people out, but when you can think about that way, you can see things and kind of read situations better, which prepares you more. Maybe not like overthinking so much, but at the same time, it kind of does help prepare you a lot.
Well, not every jewel is as hard and compressed as a diamond. And so that there are different facets and densities to what we go through. Not everybody needs to be a diamond. Some people... And I guess I'm talking about pressures and the things that we go through. You'll make it to the end of life, and some people have been through hell, and some people are just starting to go through it, and maybe some people have it to look forward to. You don't know what kind of stone somebody's preparing to be, or how they have to shine in the world. But some stones take a hell of a lot of pressure to get where they are.
Yeah, no kidding. I like those people, because those are the ones that, okay, maybe not always, but a lot of times are very open and willing to sharing their trials and helping everyone else get through their own pressures, which is really neat.
Yeah, it is. It's it's hard to maybe be that person sometimes, because you got to do a lot of holding on to be there to share with people, especially if maybe your job is to sing the blues. And in order to sing the blues, you got to feel the blues. And not only do you have to feel the blues, but you need to be able to swallow the blues, not be at the mercy of them to deliver them to someone else. You got to be numb to the blues. And that not everybody's cut for.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, man. Maybe a difference between art and music in this way.
Yeah, I would say so.
Because you could kind of get away with painting whatever you'd like once in an emotional moment if you really had to, whatever it might be, and not have to... I don't know. That one's weird. If I have to
It
sing
is,
the
yeah.
same song that broke my heart to pieces once, I have to sing it 500,000 times for the rest of my life because it made me $1 million. I have to be numb to that.
Yeah, I kind of don't have to look at a painting that I've already finished.
You don't ever have to. You can be
Yeah.
like, I don't want to look at that. You know what I mean? And it's not enough that I could be like, I don't want to listen to my album. I have to perform it for people.
Yeah, that's
Supposedly.
a much different situation.
It could be.
Yeah, and also I'm not really ever like super emotional when I do any kind of artwork.
Really?
Sometimes, but it never stays long. It never lingers long enough to get like an actual form. Like I might have an idea based upon like a deep emotion, and I might come up with an idea, but by the time it comes to like me actually starting and finishing it, I'm led more upon my own creativity of like, oh, I know what to do to make this look really good, or like let's throw this in there. So it becomes more of like an art project rather than an emotionally fueled painting, because emotions and feelings are fleeting, and
Sure.
for me, they
Well, it's cool. It's kind of like you're inspired by looking at the muse and doing whatever the muse is, and whereas I'm having to kind of like correlate my steps with it. I'm dancing with the muse with my music, and I have to be on top of whatever it is that we're, I don't know. That was a weird metaphor there, but
No, I really like that because it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because there are times when I paint or I'll do something, and I will listen to a specific music because it does make me feel like I'm not good at music, but it makes me feel a lot.
right.
And so I'll pick a certain soundtrack and playlist. But at the same time, I don't know if it's actually ADHD or what it is, but my brain is just firing on 20 different cylinders in different direction, and all of a sudden I'm listening to a podcast. So it's like the emotion that gets me started is never the same one that I finish with.
That's cool. You don't do like passion painting then. You're not like
No, because they look like garbage. And then I get mad because they look like garbage.
this is just not the type of art you're trying to sell.
No,
It's
not even remotely. Impressionism is not my thing.
yeah, just tape a banana to the wall.
Yeah. Don't even get me started on that. That is infuriating.
Art. Yeah, I don't know what I want to say about that one.
I know it's
Because as an artist, I have to sometimes grit my teeth and be like, "Yep, it's art. Yep, I get it. Interpretation." And it's not that I hate it; it's that I have to leave room for it, and I hate that.
yeah, 100%. There's I know you've never seen this, but for some of the listeners, maybe they have. There's an episode in How I Met Your Mother where one of the characters is dating somebody, and his brother sits down and is like, ask me what you think, or ask me what I think about this person. They're like, what do you think? Like, oh, she's great, I love her. Ask me again.
I think I do remember this
Yeah.
episode.
And then it's like, all right, one more time. He's like, all right, fine, if you insist. And then he breaks down why he doesn't like her, and that's not exactly where I'm at. But in the beginning, it was too easy for me to be like, oh yeah, that piece sucks for these reasons, or I hate this because of these reasons. And then you get to the point where like, why am I doing that? I have my own opinion on it.
Right.
And a lot of times it would upset people because they're like, it's art. It's not your art. And it's like, yeah, but they're botching certain things up that they should have spent more time. Like, but then I get what their point. I get it. It's not mine.
It's not your art.
Yeah. Like they didn't do this for me.
Yeah. Like I would hate for me to be excited to show somebody a song that I'm like, yeah, it's my masterpiece. And like, yeah, but you could play that chord instead of this one. And that word really didn't rhyme like you think it rhymed. And you could have, and I'm like, dude, this is exactly what it was supposed to be. Not, I don't know.
Yeah. It's such a good point too, because when I'm painting or something, or it's, that exact point is so good. And I show someone something that I've spent a lot of time on that I do care about, whether or not the emotion, whatever. I'm thinking in my mind, what are they going to pinpoint that they don't like, that I like, or that I purposely left out, or I didn't consider. I'm like, okay, so it's not well done to them just because they saw something different.
Sure. That now they can't look away from.
Right?
That's the thing they're thinking about. Well, I just wish that shoe was drawn a little different.
Yeah.
You really ruined it with a shoe.
So it's crazy to think back and like, you were that asshole. And I was like, I was that asshole, which sucks. So, now I don't do that.
Yeah. And as an artist, I try to be open to all things and all interpretations. I recently left the I listen to everything crowd. I used to be I listen to everything guy, and I really went out there, man, on a limb. And then I found this one limb, and then I was like, this is inaudible. Like, what do you? This is not music. You're just being masochistic and trying to be like, right. You listen to this? Like, no, nobody listens to this. So anyway, that's out there, and the same's true with art. You got to draw the line somewhere and be like, I don't want this to be art. This,
Yeah. Yeah, no. Now it's just like, that's not for me.
Noise music, man. I found a whole vein of noise music, and I was so excited because there's some that was like I was okay with it. It was a neat, tickled the brain in the right ADHD way, but it was a little uncomfortable music. I was like, this is cool, right? Stretching the boundaries. And then there's some that's like sonically not digestible. Like they've done it on purpose, and they like professionally made this unlistenable. And I'm like, I just can't get into this. I don't know.
I
have friends
also feel that way.
They buy those records and they're just like, got that thing. And I'm like, nobody wants that. Like, they're going to print more because of you.
Dude, my younger brother was never, I don't think he was that bad about it, but he 100% same person. He only liked obscure bands that almost no one has heard of. And I'm like, why? This is awful.
That was me with metal in high school, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen to some of the metal maybe you dabbled with in high school. I don't know about you.
Oh, bro, it's bad.
Some of it was real bad.
Yeah.
We Came with Broken Teeth. That was a band that I listened back to recently. I found some of the audio, and Bubblegum Octopus was another one. Like, who made this? Oh, my gosh. Youth is something else, man.
It really is. But it was so, like, to bring it back around, it was very individualistic.
Mm-hmm.
It was, in my opinion, garbage. But they were out there doing it.
Yeah, but I mean, look who you are, having been exposed to those things, right?
Yeah.
One of the bands that I liked in the metal bands in high school was called Dr. Acula, which is a Goosebumps book, and all of their lyrics were Goosebumps lyrics.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and they were just goofy and weird, and I saw them live, and it was deplorable. It was not good in the slightest, but everyone was happy and had their skateboards. It was very youthful and cool.
Oh my god.
Trash. If you guys are still a band, I'm glad that you have experience now.
I don't know if they are or not.
No, that was bad.
Interesting though. It is fun to see those awful weird bands actually turn to I like this. You guys have matured.
Who's an example of that would be Bring Me the Horizon changed significantly. They changed a lot, and I don't know, a lot of those guys actually are still playing music. A good example of someone who changed on a dime is Skrillex from First to Last. He was the singer from First to Last back in the day.
I didn't.
That's Skrillex.
Whoa.
Yeah, not even the same human being.
Nope.
Basically, as far as audio goes.
Wow. Yeah. Hundreds. Did you know who they are?
I've heard of them. I don't know very much about them.
Yeah, the main vocalist came back. They're like classic yelling hardcore.
Okay.
So a lot of fighting in the crowd.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, now it's just this weird techno pop stuff. It's very bizarre.
Can you still throw fists to it or no?
No.
What a change.
Yeah.
They probably lost a lot of their fan base.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the band. I think it's just the one dude now. Anyways, I don't actually know the story, so don't quote me on that.
Well, in this very same podcast, we argued to giving artists room to grow. So I have to circle back to that and say,
yes,
it's not
absolutely.
about us, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and the thing is, I've seen the videos of him dancing and whatnot, and I'm like, fuck it. If you're happy,
correct.
I'm not listening to this.
Right.
But if you're happy,
you've lost me, but you carry on.
Great. Continue to do your thing because I know someone is going to love this because that's just the way the world is.
Everything is loved by someone. Everything.
Yeah.
The thing you hate the most exists because someone loved it.
Dude, great point. So my cousin texted me the other day. Everyone's having babies. He just had a baby. Congratulations, guys. And I guess congratulations to your wife for actually delivering the baby. Anyway. You didn't do anything, Brendan.
And the doctors for their presents.
Oh, yeah. Everyone else in between. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now. Anyway, he was starting to paint a lot, and he got inspired by one of the artists, and the guy does weird folk faces in pottery.
Okay.
He has a name. I wish I could remember, but when I looked it up, I'm like, those are wild and interesting.
Are they the ones with multi-eyes and stuff? Does he do
kind of, yeah.
I'd be
real
to
goofy.
see.
I'll show you afterwards. And so he was inspired by those, and he's like, I don't have a kiln, and I don't have I think he just started getting clay and stuff. He's like, but in the meantime, I wanted to create something, so he started painting. he's like, they're not very good, and they're really like weird and abstract. But he's like, I have a lot of fun painting them. I'm like, show me, let me see it. In my brain, I'm like, all right, you got to put on your nice hat.
It's gonna be some weird stuff.
I love it.
They were great.
They're super awesome, and they are very abstract, and they're very weird. But at the same time, I'm like, this would be so cool on like in a big frame up on someone's like wall. I'm like, oh shit,
Someone wants that.
yeah. Like I'm that weirdo that really wants this weird piece.
So this made me want to ask you this earlier, and this might be a good point of context to bring it up. Have you seen the guy on specifically TikTok who has built a scale model of New York City?
What? No.
Okay, so this guy popped
How
up on my
big
For You
is
page.
that?
No, so he's spent like, I think he said 25 years he spent. There are 11 million buildings or some, oh man, can I grab my phone? Let me
What?
let me-
Yeah.
I don't have to show you the video, but I want to make sure what I'm saying is right because
I can't imagine, dude.
it's in segments. It's in like, so basically like you've got this triangle table here. He will have built one port, like Manhattan or greater Manhattan, and then he'll have another piece. So somewhere in this man's home or living situation, he has extraordinarily delicate, tiny miniature versions to scale of the complete New York City.
That's
complete.
insane.
And the comments, like, people are like, please insure this immediately. Like, now that you've shown the world, please insure it. It belongs in a museum. Someone has to buy this. Like, it's stunning.
Wow, it makes me want to do that of Somerville.
Dude, it would be a lot more achievable.
I
This
was
is
about to
like-
say,
it's a miracle this guy has done this. Like,
my first thought was like, he should have picked a smaller city.
but for that reason, it does deserve to be in a museum
Yeah.
or something. No one will ever do that again, bro.
That is-
you did that.
So impressive. When I got into this campaign and I started like crafting and building miniatures, I didn't realize how much fun I would have doing it.
I'll save this and I'll show you later. It says 895,000 buildings, 100 plus building or bridges. The scale is 1/1200th.
Whoa.
So 1 inch is equal to 100 foot. But yeah, he's crazy. He's in front of it here.
Whoa.
So anyway, you guys should check that out too. I'll send it to you when we're done. But
that's amazing.
yeah, and he's just some lunatic basically. And he's just like, all right, guys, it's time I tell you about this thing I've been building. And you're like, ow. Well,
You spent so much of your life.
but talk about obscure stuff. How many people told him that was ridiculous when he started the first couple buildings? They're like, you'll never make New York, bro. And here he is 21 years later, having successfully done something you probably will never do.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That blows my mind.
Very cool. And
wonder-
it's not even AI. Love it.
I know, right? I know, jeez. Imagine having to like go back in the future, like, damn, they just tore that building down. I just built this. I gotta take it down now.
So one of the things that he did say, and we're not rabbit holing, but he did build the Twin Towers there next to the World Tower Trade Center. Like he incorporated them both in that little area.
Oh, wow.
Because when he had begun building it, the Twin Towers stood, and then they didn't. So that happened to him.
I was thinking about it, but I was like, I don't know.
I mean, come on now. It's been long enough. We should be able to talk about the fact that the thing happened.
Yeah.
The furthermore, we don't need to talk about, but the
I want to be honest. It wasn't so much that I was trying to be like under the rug about it. It was more or less that I did math. In like 21 years, it's 2025. I'm like, that's 2001. Never mind.
that would be when he started. I wonder if it was among the first buildings.
Right? I'm like,
He's like, oh, I did just carve that. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to like.
whoops. Oh my gosh.
He's like, now is not the time to announce I'm building this, probably. Like, no, wait 21 years. You'll be all right.
I've seen a lot of really cool videos of people like, hey, I would love to show you what my father has been working on or mother, whatever, for like 30 years of their life. And they go into like a shed and it's just crazy intricate like carvings, or they have like an interactive like forest experience basically that they've just been building for themselves and their family. And there's like no intent to showing anyone, but because of like social media, one of the kids like, I want to show this off, and everyone's like, whoa, that's incredible.
I love stuff like that, man. There's a somewhere in the mountains, and I wish I knew better to tell you, but someone built a castle privately on their own in the woods.
Love
and
it.
then they passed, and their family was like, the world should be able to come here and see this. You built a castle for no reason. And yeah, you can like walk out on the outstretches of this kind of weird rinky-dinky like homemade castle this dude built. And it's another one is have you ever heard of Coral Castle in Florida? Not a castle. However, Coral Castle is the result of a man who mysteriously stacked multi-ton stones on top of each other that were carved mysteriously, stacked mysteriously, and done basically overnight in like a number of weeks. He built walls. He stacked giant granite and coral stones, and then took the walls down and was like, hey guys, check this out. And everybody's like, how'd you do that? And he's like, I don't know. I've just been studying magnetism my whole life. And you're like,
what?
Huh. So he died, and his son published all his works on magnetism and went, maybe you guys have figured something out. And you can go and you can see these rocks and go, how the hell did he get these here with no scaffolds, no...
Whoa.
Fascinating. But it's another example of something like that. Someone dedicated their life quietly to something, not needing to, impress anybody along the way, and discovered something fantastic.
That's so cool. It's one of my favorite things about people.
Yeah, man.
That have like just some weird, intricate hobby or something. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, this totally divided in their brain. I'm going to work. I'm doing my job. I'm paying my bills. They succeeded in that. And they're like, and now I will spend the rest of my time building magnetic giant rocks.
That's what I'm saying. You got like a friend who's like, I finally mastered the souffle. I am a master cook. I have a souffle. You're like, wow, that's brilliant. What have you been doing, Joe? Like, levitating stones. I don't know. I was just, nothing really.
Same level of passion.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But you can't tell them because you're going to think I'm insane. Yeah. Levitating stones. That's what I do. I love it.
Yeah. It's like, you can't make a souffle.
Yeah, I figured out how the pyramids were built. No big deal. It's cool.
Oh, that's super strange.
Unless you want to go there, but
you opened the box.
Well, it's the Coral Castle was him basically reminding you the box exists. That's a really cool thing you should look into because it's a reminder that, like, we can know knowledge we don't know, and that's frustrating because this man figured it out in the modern time. He figured something out, and he didn't tell us what he did.
I know,
and so
it's kind of badass.
It's real badass.
Yeah.
It's like, I could tell you, but I'm going to die instead. Like,
damn it. You guys don't deserve this information. Like, fair. Everyone's just doing TikTok dances in a grocery store. You're right. We don't. I understand.
Strange times, bud. The juxtaposition of content I get on TikTok, which is where I spend most of my time. I've kind of renounced Facebook, Instagram, and all that stuff for the most part. TikTok, for whatever reason, seems like the last glimmer of realism that exists in social media, and even then, it's not there. Like, even then, it's heavily censored. It can't say what you really want. But I find it fascinating that I'll get, like, someone throwing milk jugs and dancing in a supermarket, and then I'll get like chemtrails for 5 things, and then I'll get some guy and building New York, and I'm like, this is cool. It's all over the place for sure.
It really triggers your dopamine on that one.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to feel anything in the next 10 years, man. We'll be so wore out from our dopamine. I understand now why kids like crash out when you take their iPads. You see these videos now of like 15-year-olds take their devices and they straight smash your house. Like, I understand that that's an unacceptable amount of response, but that's happening because people have entrusted so much of themselves, all of us, into devices.
Yeah.
Like, if you forget your phone, you feel it in a little subtle way while you're away from your phone. If it's taken from you in some malicious way, you have a response.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's weird, man.
It's like that's my lifeline to reality.
We are androids. It snuck up on us. We didn't know it, but in subtle, like, radio frequency ways, you are connected to your phone. You enjoy it being on your person. You feel most comfortable and balanced when it's on your person. If it's off, you have to detox for a second. You don't like that. All of us. We've been tricked somehow into this. If you go out into the country where waterfalls are and constantly moving nature and you're away from the city, you feel it. Like, what does that mean? Do you really feel nature the way that things are supposed to be, or do you feel the taking away of this system we're basking in? You feel a detox. You don't feel like nature doesn't give you this cool big vibe. You're not excited for it. It's the lack of vibe that you're trying to adjust to. That's why people don't want to go into nature anymore. It hurts.
That's crazy. I crave nature.
Me too, because we're among the last of the generations that are like, nah, dude, I got to go touch rocks and grass,
Yeah.
the 12-year-old that I'm stepdad to wouldn't want to go camping. If I said, let's go camping, to her, camping must involve a bunch of things that I'm not interested in bringing.
Yeah, for
You
real.
know what I'm saying? She'd be like, how am I going to charge my iPad? I got to bring this and this. I'm like, no, I don't think you understand what I mean by camping. Like, we're about to go and I'm going to teach you about some mushrooms that are growing that we can eat and which ones not to eat. And we're going to go by the water and we're going to play with minnows. They're not interested. They do not care.
That is wild.
Maybe there are exceptions, and I hope that that's true for your kids, but that's not.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say like one of the funniest, I don't know if it's like funny, but to continue on with this, not
funny.
well, I mean, it's kind of funny if you think about it, because a lot of my life is technology, and I mean, I do social media for work, and I market. I'm a graphic designer. It's in the title.
It has to be. Yep.
Yeah, so like so much of what I do is just using a screen and tapping into the latest technologies and all this other stuff. But what I really, really want to do to retire is to like find some mountain-ish area or some piece of land that's really far away from everybody. And I want to do like ancient like Chinese or Japanese like works of like just living off of the land. Like, I want to dig up dirt and turn it into clay and make my own pottery and, like, bricked up kilns. That's what I watch the most of is, like, Chinese and Japanese ancient culture, how they do things.
That's awesome.
I'm like,
There's plenty to look into. Plenty.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's fascinating. And they're so peaceful. I'm watching, like, look at you go. How did you do that? That's brilliant. I love how you did that.
That's why they're mystical to us. You realize that, right? That's like, regardless of spiritual undertone, when you think of like the Eastern countries, you're like, well, they have that mysticism. No, they have like ease of life. They're like, they present themselves as taking breaths slowly. This is the thing I'm doing. I'll do it mindfully.
Yes.
We are removed from that a little bit.
Yeah, good point, dude. I've never actually paid attention to the fact that they're very slow and methodical.
Mindfulness is the pith instruction of the Buddhist teaching. The very core of it is mindfulness.
Okay, I was like, what in the world did you
Pith,
just say?
Pith meaning core. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So,
wait, isn't that what they call the inside of a fruit?
Pit.
Oh.
Pith. Pit.
Damn it, that's on camera.
No, it's okay.
We all learn.
I could still be mistaken too. I'm just using the word as I know it, but yeah, but that's why mindfulness and breathing is when I mentioned earlier that the neutral meditation that I practice is not necessarily religious in any kind of way. It's because the core of, I mean, even in Christian practice or any other practice around the world, you should be well meditated, centered, and breathing well when you go into a church. You don't want to go into a church like anxious as shit. And there are some churches that do not allow you to that. I don't know if you've ever been into a large church or a big temple, but they have an air, and it demands a little bit of quiet, a little bit of slowness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point.
It's ingrained in some of that architecture, and it feels weird for us. Like when I was in Europe, a lot of the churches seemed to be empty, and I passed in St. Paul's Cathedral this ironic sign that said, "Quiet, please." And I was like, I can't speak in here. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but you walk in and things are encrusted in gold, and there are sculptures I couldn't imagine carving, and there are paintings high on the ceiling. Wow. You can't speak. You're like, not to mention you squeak your foot, and it's like everything echoes. The whole building's built acoustically. But that is an homage to a real spiritual person has to find that center first. They have to find the breath first. They have to find any of that first. So it makes sense the temples would be that way, and it makes sense that we would be attracted to Eastern people in general who may not even be religious people, but they're centered. They have to. They work all the time, man. If they don't have time management, they would die.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I don't have time management. I feel like I'm going to die sometimes. It's rough. It's
absolutely
not okay.
Yeah. Speaking of time management, I do have to end the podcast. I've got to go deliver a painting soon.
I've been rambling too much. My bad, Bob.
No, it's been great. I think we'd start a little bit later anyway, so I think it's cool. right on point.
And we didn't rabbit hole too bad.
I think we did a great job.
I think it was good for me, right? I didn't go too bad. Yeah, didn't even bring my tinfoil hat or anything.
No, not this time.
That's cool.
Maybe next time.
Next time.
Everyone, thank you for listening. Josh, thank you for joining. You want to do any shout-outs? You got any upcoming shows or?
So I'm playing new shows all the time, finally reaching out of the low country, but you can keep up with things on joshuajarman.com. I do have music on TikTok, all those kinds of things, and try to update some stuff as quick as I can.
Dude, awesome.
Yep.
thank you for the conversation.
Yes, sir.
I hope everyone else got a lot to think about like I did. I'm going to be driving on the way just like, oh.
If they made it this far, they do. They're like, golly, that guy's nuts.
I love it.
No.
I love it because this isn't even just like the podcast environment. Like this is just who you are all the time.
I do. Well, that's definitely true. This is how I am. I've been a loon for a little while. I do want to compliment your space, man. This is really
thanks.
cool. I understand it's a multifaceted space, but it's really wonderful for what you're doing now. And yeah, I hope this does really well for you.
Everyone seems to like it, which is to me a little baffling because it's very, very unique.
Why do you like what I don't think you'll like?
I know.
Later.
Oh my God. Yeah.